Well, Manchester United 3, Athletic Bilbao nil. And where do we start? Where do we start? You know what, yeah? Big up to Reluctant Gamer. Big up, bro, each and every time. I'll hold my hands up. I did go for a 2-0 scoreline to Athletic Bilbao. Reluctant Gamer told me, United are going to win. I can't remember what he said, but he definitely said United will score 2 goals. I said I can't see it, and United running out 3-0 winners. And again, you know, um, United get the advantage again. So it's the third game in a row that in the Europa League, United are up against 10 men. And to be fair, you'd have to say, that's 1 foot for me in the Europa League final. And again, it's looking like that final is going to be against Tottenham. Tottenham 3-1 up in the first leg at home to Bodo Glimt. And it's looking like an all-English final, And again, if it is an all-English final, what a final that's going to be, man. Because both teams, need that win. In really, if I'm honest with you, so either manager can stay in their jobs. So I think it's safe to say Man United and Tottenham, both teams will be thinking that they've got a chance of being in the final. And yeah, it's just mad. It's just mad. As I said, I didn't see this coming, and I think some of the key talking points, I think it's important to identify the Inaki Williams header, because when he missed that, I did say, I wonder if that's gonna come back to bite them, and obviously the Victor Lindelof as well, clearing the ball off the line, which stopped it from being 1-0 as well. So these little fine margins is what happens in football, and all it takes is for the other team to go up the other end, and yeah, and change the course of the game. So I think the first half, United's midfield was a bit of a concern at times. And there was a few gaps that was opening up, and I did say in transition, Inaki Williams and Nico Williams in a transition would cause problems. I have to say, Nico Williams was shocking today, absolutely shocking. He looked like, if I'm honest with you, it looked like Nico Williams gave up. That's the best way to describe it. It looked like Nico Williams gave up. Inaki Williams, I think his quality was poor. Willing runner, but overall his quality was poor. Yeah, big up to I am Titanium. Casemiro and Bruno, the two most experienced players in the United team, you would say. Casemiro was unbelievable, and this is a guy that has been written off plenty of times, and it's funny now, he's come back into the team, and this is a game when you need Casemiro, and he's just showing everyone why he was at Real Madrid for as long as he was. Big up to Kid Arda as well. Gamer, big up to Reluctant Gamer. Gamer did say, United will score 2. I have to hold my hands up, I got that one wrong. But what is it with United and playing in Europa and playing up against a team that are down to 10 men? This keeps on happening, and that is 3 games in a row now. And yeah, it's mad. Big up TJ, man. Big up. So guys, Man United writing out 3-0 winners in the first leg, and as I said, you would have to say United have 1 foot in the final now, and possibly looking like against Tottenham. And as I said, what a final that's going to be. United and Tottenham, 2 managers that would need, victories for their teams to even keep their jobs, I would say. And as I said, I didn't see this coming. Do I think it was a penalty on Højlund? I mean, it was quite harsh, because I think the way that Højlund lunged for the ball, I think he made a bit. I think he made a bit more of it than it was, knowing that he wasn't going to get on the end of it. But I suppose, I have seen them given, and I think in the end, You know, was it a justified penalty? You know, it can be either or. You know, I did think it was slightly harsh, but at the end of the day, you know, when Bruno steps up for the penalty, you might as well just say goal, because from the penalty spot, he's very good. You know, but notable mention for Harry Maguire, man. You know, for me, Harry Maguire isn't the future of Man United. You know, but that bit of skill on the wing, you know, it looked like Franck Ribery to me. You know, on the wing, just twisting and turning. And the thing what makes me laugh is that Harry Maguire done all that on the wing, and then he still manages to put in a good ball. And then Ugarte gets his head to the ball, and then, you know, Casemiro arriving in 1-0 Man United, you know. And again, the penalty, Bruno's third goal, very good finish, you know. And as I said, you know, I think as a whole, the team done what they had to do, you know, a very professional performance, you would have to say. I think for me, big up to Ronaldo. Hope that's the real Ronaldo, not Cristiano, but R9. But big up. What I'd have to say is that the performance as a whole from the whole team was professional. And again, being down to 10 men, which Athletic Bilbao were, you know, it was always going to be a bit more of a comfortable result for them. You know, and for me, as I said, those few chances that Bilbao had, you know, I did say at the time, they're going to regret this. And look at this now. Yeah, it's just mad, you know. TJ says, Fernandez be carrying that team. He's been your lucky charm this season. I disagree, TJ, but big up yourself. What I would say to you, TJ, is try not to listen to these commentators or these pundits, Rio Ferdinand and Robbie Savage. These guys are scripted. And what I would say to you is, although Bruno did score a penalty and get the goal tonight, he hasn't been carrying the team. That's a complete lie. You know, I think what it is with football now, people just look at numbers and assume that because someone's got good numbers, you know, that person's automatically carrying the team, which is a complete lie. And as I said, you know, you're going to get Bruno fans, you know, that are going to be propping him up, you know, but where were these fans when he didn't do nothing in the last few games? This is the problem, you know. It's only people only want to come on and start propping up Bruno Fernandes when he gets a goal or if United win and he has a hand in it. But when he's not doing nothing, it's all quiet. So again, when you're saying he's been carrying the team, that's a complete lie. He hasn't been carrying. And the thing is, if you think he's been carrying the team, look at where they are in the league table. You know, so that isn't true. But yeah, no, big up yourself for your comment. Gamer says, you go into the final. I won't be personally, but I think it's safe to say the Man United fans will be booking their tickets for sure, you know. Yeah, man, it was a professional performance in the end. I think if we just go through the whole team, Anana very quiet, you know, didn't have much. I think he made one save from Alex Berenguer in the first half. You know, I think it's a save that you'd expect him to make. Big up TJ. I will get back to your comments in a bit. So I think Andre Anana, you know, clean sheet, and he'll be very happy with the fact that he hasn't conceded. Moving on to the back three, Lenny Yoro. I think Lenny Yoro for me is just going from strength to strength, you know. In terms of his quality on the ball, in terms of his pace on the recovery, you know, he's proven why Real Madrid were after him, really, you know. And Real Madrid's loss is Man United's gain, because what a player Lenny Yoro is. And it's clear to see that this guy is going to be in the team for the foreseeable, you know. And the only problem Man United are going to have with Lenny Yoro is if Man United don't reach Lenny Yoro's ambitions, then will Lenny Yoro start looking elsewhere? You know, I think the fact that he's still young, you know, he's still growing as a player. You know, he still looks like he looks like he does enjoy playing for the club. But if Man United are not competing for serious honours, you know, Lenny Yoro is someone that the club are going to struggle to hold on to, because again, this is a player that is a star in the making for sure. You know, he gets better with every game, Lenny Yoro. And again, what a performance. And as I said, I thought he would have played on the right to deal with Nico Williams. He actually played on the left to deal with Inaki. And to be honest with you, he dealt with Inaki Williams comfortably, you know. So yeah, what a performance from Lenny Yoro. Victor Lindelof, you know, I think in the first half he got caught. But then the block that he made from, I believe was it Berenguer again, and then stopping one on the line. Again, man, you know, another good performance from Victor Lindelof. And again, he's going at the end of the season. And I think it's safe to say that, you know, the performance he put in today, you know, is a good little parting gift to United. Because I thought he struggled a little bit in the first half, but I think, you know, he come on strong. And against 10 men, you know, you should be able to see the game out really, you know. But I thought he played well. Again, same with Harry Maguire. You know, there was calls for Maguire to get sent off in the second half when he pulled back Sonadi. And to be fair, that Sonadi is quite a handful as well. You know, I think in terms of his quality, you know, he's a bit hit and miss. But in terms of a willing runner and just being able to hold the ball up, you know, he was quite a handful. And I thought Maguire dealt with him well. So yeah, I thought the back three was fine, to be honest with you. Again, against 10 men, you know, you're gonna be a bit more comfortable as well, you know. So TJ says who else did do something else than Bruno? Well, Casemiro did for a start. So there's one player. And the next player I'm going to get on to, Mazraoui. I mean, Mazraoui for me, you know, this guy just never has a bad game. You know, I did say the battle between Nico Williams up against Mazraoui on that right-hand side was going to be key. And to be honest with you, Mazraoui just done what he normally does, and that's just shut out the winger, you know. And what a player he is, man. Yeah, big up Lauren Birch. Big up for coming on. Guys, again, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. So, yeah, Mazraoui was, he's just Mr. Consistent. You know, the guy never has a bad game. And he just kept Nico Williams quiet throughout the whole game. And again, Nico Williams was poor. It looked like Nico Williams gave up, as I said. You know, he looked dejected of any confidence. I think, obviously, when it went down to 10 men, you know, I think the whole team was surprised. And I think he was someone that just gave up in the end. Left wing back, Patrick Dorgu. To be honest with you, Dorgu in the first 5 to 10 minutes, I thought he struggled a bit, you know, but I think towards the end of the first half, you know, he was a bit more threatening, again down to 10 men, and his pace and his power did cause problems. And I thought he was okay, but again, I think I would expect the whole team to have a good performance, you know, when the other team's down to 10 men. But I thought Dorgu had a good game, and he can build on that in the weekend, I would say. And as I said, going into this second leg, there should be no excuses, you know, no excuses. I think United need to see this game out, and it's going to be a big ask from Athletic Bilbao to overturn a 3-goal deficit for me, you know. Going into midfield, Casemiro first and foremost. As I said about Casemiro, what a player, you know. And he's proving why, you know, you just don't count out certain players, because, you know, a lot of fans were saying Casemiro's legs are gone. You know, Casemiro needs to be moved on. He's not proving the wage that he's on. And the last few games, you know, against Lyon and tonight, Casemiro is just showing you why, you know, he was at Real Madrid for the amount of years he was there, why he's won so many trophies. His experience, his leadership, you know. And what I like about Casemiro, he delivers when it matters, you know. He's just got a knack of just getting in the right places at the right time when it matters. And for me, he's the real captain of this team. You know, he leads by example. You know, again, he's the most experienced in the team. And again, a man of the match performance. You know, he was dominant. You know, got the goal as well. But defensively, his awareness, you know, was another level. And again, next season, I'm hoping he stays. if he was to reduce his wage and he stays, a player that would be for the club. But again, it's going to be in the balance because of the ways that he's on. But for me, players like that, you just don't let go from honest with you, because he still has something to offer the game, something to offer the club. And I'm just hoping Ineos see that and see tonight what a valuable player that he is. What a performance. Manuel Ugarte. Now, I think people need to really look at Manuel Ugarte now and start asking serious questions for me, because this is a guy that was bought for 60 million. It's very clear, and it's not rocket science why PSG got rid of him. If you look at PSG's midfield, all press-resistant players, you've got Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, João Neves, all players that are press-resistant. I think João Neves, out of all three of them, is the least, but still, he's another level above Ugarte. And tonight, Ugarte really, was poor. I think Ugarte is an honest player. He's going to run around. He's going to make tackles. But ultimately, if Man United want to get back to amongst the elite, players like that just need to be at the club or on the bench, because he ain't good enough. It's plain and simple. He's just a bench player for me. And the amount of times he gets caught on the ball, and again, that's just because he's not press resistant. He's just someone that, as I said, when a team are on the front foot, he can, as I say, he can intercept, cut out, pressurize the opposition, and then just give the ball to the better players. But for me, Man United need better than that. And for me, when he came off, I wasn't surprised, because, as a footballer, when you want to get someone on the ball, he isn't the player for that, And as I said, next season, United needs to really go in that market and get a top-class midfielder, and Ugarte needs to be a bench option for me, because if you're going to play against better teams, especially at home, you don't need a Ugarte, because he just ain't good enough. But if you're going to play away from home, where you've got, where the opposition going to have, 70% of the ball, you might need Ugarte's legs in there to win the ball back. But I think when the Man United are on the front foot, you don't want to have Ugarte in the team. And I thought he was poor, and rightfully so came off. Big up to Lauren Birch. So Lauren says, well done to Man U from a Rangers fan. Yeah, listen, obviously Rangers got beat by Athletic Bilbao in the previous round. But yeah, Lauren, big up yourself for coming on. And as I said, yeah, Man United done well to win 3-0, And you would have to say that, yeah, that's 1 foot into the next round. Gamer says, you going out to watch the final, or you watching it in-house? I'll probably watch it in my house, Gamer, because I'll be honest with you, I prefer watching football matches really on my own, so I can take in the game, because I like to analyse, little things from the game, rather than going to a packed place where you can't really hear. Yeah, I like to just watch it from the own comfort of my home, really. Lauren says, Nico Williams isn't that good. Lauren, I agree. I think Nico Williams symbolises what you see of a lot of wingers in today's football. Someone that's got pace and is very direct, but really and truly the quality just isn't there. And I think there was one instance in the first half where Nico Williams got the ball, and it was like I think there was two bits of play he done. There's one where he pressurized Victor Lindelof, where he gave the ball away, and then he went through 2 against 1, and it was a simple pass into Sonadi's path for a 1-on-1 against Onana, and Nico Williams just underhit the pass. It was a lack of quality, and sorry, there's a lack of quality, and obviously that chance was gone. But that was because, I think if you've got a Lamine Yamal in that situation, Lamine Yamal, this is why Lamine Yamal is so good, because his quality of pass would have been there, to make it an easy finish for the striker. But the fact that that Nico Williams underhit the pass, I think that was to be expected, because again, he symbolises the kind of wire players you're getting now in football. Players with a lot of pace, a lot of endeavour, but a lack of quality, and he symbolises that. And as I said, he gave up in that first and second half, because when they went down to 10 men, you can see his head dropped and he didn't fancy it. And when he came off, for me, he should have come off earlier, because he just didn't fancy it. And again, that's not a sign of a good player, you know. And the other instance was he tried to play a 1-2, but he just underhit the pass, didn't really take any care on it, went for the 1-2, but the pass was so underhit, he got cut out. And again, in the second leg, he's going to need to be a lot better, because, you know, there was reports about him asking for a lot of money for his next club. He's on big money at Athletic Bilbao now, and the next club he goes to, he wants a lot of money. Just based on that performance, you know, he don't deserve to get any money, really. Let's be honest, because he was poor, and he needs to have a good look at himself. I think his brother was also poor, but he was better than him. You know, I think Inaki Williams, you know what you're getting with Inaki Williams. A lot of endeavour, a lot of pace, a lot of strength, you know, but the quality just isn't there. So yeah. So Gamer says Casemiro's still got 1 year contract left. Yeah, exactly. But I think the club will try and move him on because of his wage. I think if the club are serious, you know, they try and renegotiate his wage to see if he wants to take a wage cut. And I think that could be pivotal for Casemiro staying on. But I think the club need to just, you know, come to an agreement with him, because players of that quality, of that level, you know, they're hard to find. And again, he showed why, you know, he has been a top player, definitely. But yeah, just moving on. Bruno Fernandes. I know Bruno's going to get the plaudits for the 2 goals, the penalty, and then the third goal, which was a good finish. But if you actually watch Bruno's game today, you know, there were bits of play where he you know, he did make some good passes, but then he still reverts back to the normal Bruno, where he's just giving the ball away carelessly. And what I would say with Bruno Fernandes, you know, is that I know Bruno Fernandes has a lot of fans, you know, and a lot of fans just, they can't see any wrong that he does. But where I judge Bruno Fernandes is not against 10 men. It's against the better teams, and seeing what he can do in tight games to try and turn the tide in Man United's favour. And for too many times, whenever Bruno plays up against the best teams, you know, he doesn't really show up, but he never gets talked about, you know. And again, I'm gonna bring it back to some of these pundits, because these pundits, to be honest with you, they're a massive problem. We have to listen to Rio Ferdinand say Bruno Fernandes has got 37 GA. He's not going to have no one say a bad word about him. And again, these are the kind of idiots you get on TV, because this is why the likes of Rio Ferdinand and the likes of Robbie Savage will never make good managers, good coaches, because all they seem to focus on is the fact that Bruno's got 37 GA. Because again, we're in an era now where these guys just care about numbers. 37 GA. But the thing is, they won't tell you when Bruno isn't showing up in the big games, you know. They won't tell you that Bruno Fernandes, as the captain of the club, you know, he has to be looked at as why the team in 14th position in the league, you know. But these Rio Ferdinands and these Robbie Savages will just tell you he's got 37 GA. I'll be honest with you, if a midfielder has got 37 GA and your striker's got 4 league goals, you know, that's a problem there for me. That is a problem, because there is no way your midfielder should be having that amount of numbers and then your striker has 4 goals, you know, and then yet we're meant to believe he's the best chance creator in Europe. You know, it's a complete joke, you know what I mean? Because what I would say is that, again, Bruno Fernandes is on every penalty, every corner, every free kick. So again, if anyone doesn't know how these chances created are counted, you know, if Bruno Fernandes is on every set piece and he puts the ball into the box, regardless of how bad the ball is, and Man United player gets the head to the ball, that counts as a chance created. Yeah. So these stats that Bruno gets are not even true stats, really, you know. And as I said, if he's got 37 GA and your striker's got 4 goals, you know, when are we going to start to look at there's a massive problem there? Because I've never known a midfielder to have that amount of goals over your striker, and people will look at it and say it's because he's that good. I would say no, it's because there's a flaw there somewhere in the team. Because your midfielder is supposed to be creating for your striker, And again, when you hear the likes of Robbie Savage and Rio Ferdinand coming out with this nonsense, it's just best to just ignore them because these guys have agendas for players that they like, and then they're just talking to millions of people trying to influence their mind. But I've watched every single game of Man United this season, and I'll tell you guys for free, Bruno Fernandes hasn't been great. He hasn't. He might have got an assist or a goal in a poor performance, but I've watched every single game, and he hasn't been good, regardless of what these pundits say. 37 GA might look good for him, but again, his performances haven't been good. So I'd rather focus on his performances rather than GA because GA means nothing if the team is performing how they are performing. That's the truth. So Gamer says Casemiro is one of the best ever midfielders to play the game. Yeah, bro, listen. He's one of the best midfielders of his generation for sure. That midfield of Casemiro, Modric, and Cruz. Again, when he was up against the likes of Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta, you had those three going head to head against each other, and this is when football was at its best for me. And again, people that write off Casemiro, are people that really don't understand the game for me because if Casemiro is playing in a team where there isn't too many gaps, and he isn't being asked to be, in the first phase in terms of receiving the ball from the defense, then you're gonna get a good Casemiro because Casemiro isn't gonna be at Real Madrid for no reason. He's gonna have quality, and to be in that midfield for the amount of time that he was, people to just write him off just like that, for me doesn't sit right. And again, he's just proving what a player he is and what a player he has been, And again, there's no surprise. The last two Europa League games, Casemiro has been man the match. Let's be honest, Big Up Latin Gamer says, so Forest got beat 2-0 by Brentford. Yeah, I see that. I wasn't sure if it was 2-0. I see 1-0, but I think it's safe to say that Nottingham Forest, man, they're gonna have a lot to do to try and get into them top 5 spaces for the Champions League, and I think they're gonna be the most likely team to drop out now. I think that's a couple losses on the bounce. They got beaten obviously in the FA Cup as well, so you'd have to say that they're gonna be up against it for sure. Big up to Flixie, big up to Go Sixers. Yeah, we know Liverpool won the league. Yeah, Liverpool deserved it, man. They won the league by an absolute distance, and they were the most consistent team. But I think in the summer, they're going to need to invest in that team again if they're going to want to make an assault on the Champions League and make an assault on the league again. Big up to Will. Yeah, big up, Will. Big up for coming on. Big up to Hayley McIntosh as well. So, yeah, just moving on, guys. So, Garnacho. To be fair, I thought Garnacho was okay tonight. I think with Garnacho, again, I'm not Garnacho's biggest fan. I do still think he needs to go in the summer. And this is what I don't want Man United fans to do. I don't want Man United fans to get blinded by the result tonight and now start thinking that certain players that should be moved on all of a sudden should be staying now. For me, Garnacho was decent tonight, if I'm honest. Winning a lot of fouls, worked hard. But for me, he isn't the level and still does need to be sold at the end of the season. But I think tonight he can be happy with his performance. And it's all about the second leg now and taking that into the second leg and, yeah, finishing the job off. That's what I would say. Big up to Hayley McIntosh says about the goal. Was it offside? Whose goal are we talking about, Hayley? What goal are we talking about? Is that Garnacho's goal? Or are we talking about... so Bruno's one wasn't offside. Obviously, the penalty. And obviously, Casemiro's one wasn't offside. I think you're talking about the Garnacho one. Yeah, he was offside. He was just slightly offside. Yeah, he was. And again, he does get caught offside a lot, to be fair, Garnacho. You know, he's got to time his runs a lot better. But yeah, I thought he actually had a decent game, you know, but again, I don't want people to get blinded by the fact that United won 3-0 and to start saying that some of these players now deserve another chance, because for me, this is where the club are going to go wrong, and they still need to act in the summer for me. But big up yourself. Big up T Man Tal says, how do United do it? Some teams are lucky. Yeah, listen, big up yourself, T Man Tals. Yeah, it's football heritage at the end of the day, you know. Man United, for me, they have to be amongst one of the most luckiest teams, I would say, because this isn't just this season. This is under Ten Hag, under Solskjaer. You know, the amount of times they get lucky and end up getting a result. You know, some people might say it's not luck. You know, I think a lot of it is luck, but a lot of it is going to the end. It's attitude, you know, and I just don't. I've never seen a season where United have had 3 games in a row in the Europa League, and the opposition have been down to 10 men. You know, I've never seen that. And again, you could argue that in all 3 games, you know, they were harsh. If you look at the Real Sociedad game, um, I can't remember who got sent off, but I think it wasn't really a sending off. If you look at the Leon game, it wasn't a sending off. Quarantine Tolisso, it wasn't a sending off because if you actually look at it, he was trying to get into his stride and then clipped, I think it was Mazraoui. And then tonight was pretty harsh as well. So I would say that, yeah, United have definitely been lucky to get away with playing against 10 men. And if that's happened 3 times in a row, which is just absolute madness, you know. And but again, yeah, these things happen. Obviously, second leg, they need to make sure they finish the job off. So Haley says, what do you think about the penalty check? Yeah, as I said, Haley, for me, I've seen them not given, you know, and what I would say is that Rasmus Højlund did make a meal of it, you know, because if you actually check, there was a little tug on his shoulder, but the thing is, he made a meal of it in terms of knowing he wasn't going to get to the ball and made more of it than he needed to. So you could say it was clever play from Højlund, or you could say that the referee bought it, you know. But I have seen decisions given for that, and I have seen decisions not given for that. So for me, yeah, I think it's either or really, you know. Um, but I think Bilbao, you know, will be kicking themselves because they had chances in the first half. Again, Inaki Williams header, Berenguer had one as well. There was one cleared off the line, and I did say at the time, as I said, you know, that's going to come back to haunt them, and it did in the end. So yeah, they can feel aggrieved really, but I think I'll go as far as saying, you know, it's going to be an uphill task, and that front 3 there, Inaki Williams, Nico Williams, and Sonadi. I think Sonadi was probably the best out of all 3, and he wasn't even that good really. He just working hard, but as I said, I didn't see enough of that front 3 for me to say that they're going to cause real problems. You know, we'll have to wait and see. You know, anything can happen. You know, Leon come there and scored 4 goals and still went out. So yeah, I'm definitely not going to say United are through 100%, but you'd have to say that they're in the driving seat for sure. You know, and then Rasmus Højlund. I think the one positive I give to Rasmus Højlund, he didn't find himself on the floor. You know, and you know, I think his hold-up play was a lot improved. I think it was improved from how it has been. But again, I don't want people to get blinded by the result. He's another one that needs to be moved on, you know. But I think in the context of the game tonight, he was actually okay. And again, the level's so low. We're praising basic things for these kind of players because the level has been embarrassing. So the fact that I'm saying that Rasmus played okay and his hold-up play was decent is not really, you know, it's not really a celebration really, because these things are standard. But he's been that bad, you know, giving him credit for just, you know, staying on his feet is mad really. But I did think he was a lot better than he has been. Again, still didn't get he didn't get a goal. Had a chance as well from a header, which was offside. But I think as a whole, it's um, very hard to downplay anyone really, because 3-0 away from home, albeit against 10 men, you know, it's a good result, and again the performance was decent, And in the subs, Mason Mount, to be fair, I thought when he came on, um, I thought he done okay, winning fouls, and again he was brought on just to for his energy to win the ball, and to keep the play going as well, and I thought he done that. Again, these commentators again on my nerves, the likes of Rio Ferdinand and Robbie Savage, Mason Mount's on 250. He's been injured half the season. Well, he's been injured half the time he's been here, and then, you get these pundits just trying to do PR for him by saying, they really hope Mason Mount stays fit and can get more game time. It's like, other players weren't getting this luxury, but Mason Mount, for some reason, is getting away with it. And this is a guy that's getting paid 250 grand a week, wears a number 7 shirt, and he spent half his time injured and isn't the level. But yet you get these commentators just licking his arse, man, and just, giving him excuses, which is embarrassing. Um, yeah, big up. So because keep I can't pronounce the name, but says keep chasing your dreams, never give up. 100%, 100%. The best way to progress at anything in life, is to have a target and keep working every day to try and achieve it, and remaining 100% focused and positive. That's all you can do. If you put the work in, and you feel like you're good at what you're doing, you can't fail really, and there's no secret to it. So big up Danny Rico McInnough. Who do you support? The team that won 3-0 tonight, Man United. Obviously it's been a bit of a bad season. Well, it's not been a bit of a bad season. It's been a terrible season. But I think tonight, you can enjoy the night. And as I said, I did say, and I'll hold my hands up, I did say that Bilbao would win 2-0 tonight. And big up to Reluctant Gamer, one of my mods. He did call it. He did say United will get 2 goals. And again, he was right at the end of the day. Getting on to the other subs. Guys, what a breath of fresh air it is to have Amad Diallo back on that pitch. Amad, he's such a good player. Like, he come on for 15, I think, was it 15 minutes he come on for? And immediately you can, I'm from London. I'm from Essex, Danny, but big up yourself, man. Amad Diallo come on that pitch, and immediately you could see the quality the guy has, I'll be honest with you, I don't really like seeing Amad as a wing-back. I don't really like seeing him in a wing-back. I don't really like this system, if I'm honest, this 3 at the back. I prefer the 4 at the back, as I said yesterday. But I can see why Amad does play as a wing-back, because he gets more time on the ball. But for me, the amount of quality that he has, I want to see him playing in a 10 position. And that's why I want to see him playing in a 10 position or play as a right winger. And that's why I want to see a different formation, because Amad, for me, is too good to be playing as a wing-back. But this system, he's going to play as a wing-back because he has a lot of time on the ball. But his quality is just evident. He come onto the pitch, and the one thing I give Rio Ferdinand credit for is that, which I agreed with, is that his nonchalant style, is because he believes in his ability. He believes in his ability, and he makes the game look simple, Amad. And for me, when he came on, there was one instance where I think was it De Ligt that played the long ball into the channel, and then Amad controlled it and played it around the other side of the defender. And then really it was a foul, but the ref gave play on. You know what I mean? I think he's under pressure from the Athletic Bilbao fans. But the guy just oozes quality. And again, for me, he's the future of this team. The team needs to be built around Amad Diallo. And as I said, I don't want to see him playing as a wing-back, really. So under a new system, or if it's a new manager, I just hope he just gets reverted into playing as a number 10 or playing as a right winger in a different system, because he's too good to be playing as a wing back. But in this system, I can see why he's playing there to get more time on the ball. You know, but yeah, when he come on his little cameo, man, he was class. Matthias de Ligt again when he came on, you know, assured at the back, obviously coming on from Maguire, and what a boost it would have been to the whole squad that these two players were back in the squad. Because to be honest with you, I didn't see it happening. I didn't see both players making this game. I thought they would have been just part of the travelling squad, but would have been involved in the Brentford game on the weekend. But the fact that both of them come off the bench, you know, obviously they're going to make the United team stronger now, you know, because these two are starters. But yeah, both players played well. Obviously Luke Shaw come on, you know, just shored it up a bit as well. Not too much to talk to write home about. Who else came on? So there's one more player that come on. Kobe Minu come on, yeah. And then Kobe come on again, just like Luke Shaw, just played a little cameo, and just played their part in the victory, man. So yeah, but yeah, Danny, I agree with you, man. Mason Mount ain't good enough. He's not, and this is why I don't want people to get blinded by the result and just think that, you know, that a lot of these players now should be staying, because United need to still act on these players regardless, you know, and he's one of them for me. So, but yeah, all in all, Man United 3-0. You know, Athletic Bilbao. You know, I was quite disappointed with them, really. You know, but then again, going down to 10 men, because when they went 1-0 down, I still thought, you know, they've got quality in their team that can cause problems. But I think once the sending off happened, I think it killed the game for them. And again, a lot of their players' heads dropped, you know, and Nico Williams was one of them that I see his head did drop, you know. But Ernesto Valverde, you know, very experienced manager, formerly of Barcelona as well. You know, I reckon he'll be conjuring up something in the second leg, you know, to at least give Bilbao half a chance in that second leg. Obviously, they're missing arguably their best player in Oyan Sanset as well. You know, whether he'll be available for the second leg is unlikely. I'm not too sure, but they're going to need him. And yeah, as I said, Man United firmly in the driving seat. Tottenham as well, 3-1 up against Bodo Glimt. And I know Bodo Glimt were missing three of their best players, but you'd expect Tottenham to go away from home and just get the job done and make it an all-English final, you know. And yeah, that's what I think is going to happen for sure. For sure. But yeah, guys, big up yourselves. Big up everyone for coming through. As I said, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, make sure you do at GavGoesIn and check out my other content. And guys, make sure you smash that like button. Just one click of the button obviously helps the channel to grow. If anyone's got any other questions for me, you know, how do you guys think the game went today? Do you think United will win this Europa League? What about Tottenham? Do you think Tottenham have a realistic chance of winning the Europa League? Because I think if United play Tottenham in that final, you know, I know people will say, you know, Tottenham don't really show up, but who knows, man? Because Postecoglou did say he wins a trophy in his second season, you know, and Postecoglou's job really is on the line, because, you know, he might, you know what I mean? They might already be thinking of sacking him. But what I would say is that if he definitely doesn't win the Europa League, then he will go, in my opinion, because his league performances this season have been poor. But you know, I think if he wins Europa League, they might just do a U-turn and keep him. Who knows? So if they make it to the final, their team's going to go all out to try and win. And again, a lot of their players haven't really won any major trophies, you know. And if Tottenham wants to win Europa, you know, that's a route back into the Champions League. You know, more money. It's a trophy that they haven't won. It's a trophy they've never won. It's a trophy that they haven't won in years. So, as I said, yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure, for sure. But next week, guys, it's going to be a massive, massive week next week. You know, you've got the return legs of the Champions League. You know, Barcelona 3-3 against Inter Milan, going away to the San Siro. And again, that's going to be a tough game. You know, I think for me, I'm still going to say Barcelona, but it's not going to be easy for me because that Inter Milan defense, you know, at home are going to prove a problem for Barca. But when you've got someone like Lamine Yamal, you know, just give him the ball and he'll just do and he'll do the rest. So I fully expect Barca to go through. Lewandowski, is he going to be back as well? You know, these are the kind of games that Lewandowski does thrive in as well. You know, being a difference maker. And then you've got the Arsenal PSG. PSG 1-0 up from the first leg. And again, you know, Arsenal need to go there and go on the front foot. It could be a problem because of the pace that PSG have in transition. But Arsenal going to need to impose themselves on that game. I think Thomas Partey being back is going to be a massive help to them. But I don't see them getting past PSG. And for me, PSG is their destiny to reach that final. And you know, they could win it easily as well. You know, so but yeah, it's going to be panic stations for Arsenal. That's all I would say. But and obviously United return leg, Tottenham return leg. You know, you'd expect both of them to see it through. And as I said, you know, both teams will fancy their chances in that final as well. You know, both teams have had a poor league season and Champions Europa League. You know, and again, United are still unbeaten in this Europa League. Funny enough, you know, it's madness. You know, even when they were 4-2 down against Lyon, they still managed to come back and win it 5-4 and go through. You know, so United have been unbeaten in this whole campaign, and yeah, as I said, they've now got 2 more games to navigate their way through and win a trophy, and then we see what happens in the summer. You know, so yeah, big up to Gamer says Man United will win. Tottenham, you heard it. You heard it here first. Do you know what, Gamer? I'm not gonna disagree with you, to be honest with you, because I did say today Bilbao win 2-0. Got that one wrong, so I'll have to take your word for it. You know, and I think you would expect Man United to beat Tottenham, but you know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure because you know I've seen mad things happen this season, and it would be just like Tottenham to or just like Man United, should I say, for Tottenham to go ahead and win the Europa League. You know, but I wouldn't count out Bodo Glimt just yet. You know, because it's only 3-1. Obviously, Tottenham going there to play on a plastic pitch as well. You know, so it could be a bit of a struggle for them. But I think I have to say Tottenham are in the driving seat. And in the Conference League, Chelsea. I mean, to be honest with you, it makes me laugh when I hear Chelsea in this Conference League because some of the teams they're playing, is it Jagardens they played today? I think before that it was Legia Warsaw, you know, and yeah, Chelsea are winning this competition for me. Their only tough test is going to be the final because they're going to play a team that is more renowned than these other teams, you know, Real Betis or Fiorentina. It'd be good if they play Real Betis, to be honest with you. Isco and Anthony, you know, Cedric Bakambu, I think's there as well. You know, that would be a good test for them. But yeah, as I said, I think Chelsea will win this Europa League, Europa Conference League, and yeah, it's going to be a foregone conclusion for them winning that. And as I said, looking like an all English Europa League. But I think when it comes to the Champions League, it's the elite competition. Obviously, one English team left, and looks like they're going out. And yeah, we will be there, guys. So, but yeah, big up yourselves for coming on each and every time. Reluctant Gamer, big up yourselves. Big up to Danny as well. Big up to Haley McIntosh. Big up to Will and to Lauren Birch as well for your comments, and to TJ. And guys, yeah, big up to everyone that's come through, giving me your questions. Big up to Flixie as well. And as I said, if you haven't smashed that like button, make sure you do. Helps the channel to grow. And make sure you subscribe to my channel. Our DXR's just coming. Yeah, bro, 3-0, man. 3-0. I didn't see that coming. Did not see that coming. You know, again, Man United getting another team down to 10 men. And as I said, the last three games, United have played against 10 men, which is absolutely mad. But again, this is what happens. I think the referee as well. You know, I think to be fair, he actually done quite well. He gave a lot of decisions in Man United's favour, and the Athletic Bilbao fans were going mad. And it was a tough game for him, but I think he handled it quite well, to be honest with you. But obviously, the Bilbao fans will think differently. Flixie says, "What do you think about Arsenal's chance of winning the Champions League?" Oh, that's easy. They're going out on was it Tuesday they're playing or Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday they're playing. Yeah, they're going out. They're not beating PSG, And as I said, Mikel Arteta, for me, he will be under a lot of pressure, and rightfully so. Because again, I think them beating Real Madrid, they would have been on a high. But that Real Madrid is a poor team, really. They're just full of individuals. But they're playing up against a proper team in PSG. And you've got Luis Enrique again, who is a top manager, top coach, and he's got them playing some great football, And again, Arsenal have done well to get this far, you would say, beating Real Madrid, but they're playing up against, one of the favourites in PSG. And again, if they go to PSG and happen to beat PSG, they will deserve to win it, in my opinion. But I can't see that happening because I see PSG dominating the ball. And again, if Arsenal are going to try and press for an equaliser, it's going to create gaps for the likes of Kvaratskhelia, Ousmane Dembele, Doué or Barcola on the transition with the pace, and that could be their undoing. So it's going to be a tough game for them to navigate. I think the positive that they've got is that Thomas Partey will be back, and he'll help in their midfield because for me, he's their best midfielder. So he'll make their midfield stronger, but I still think it's going to be a tough ask for them, and I'd expect PSG to finish the job off. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if PSG go on to win 2-0, 3-0, because I think at home with that crowd, and obviously knowing that Arsenal will need to come out and try and get a goal, I think it's going to play into PSG's hands. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and win 2-3-0, in my opinion. So yeah, DXR did predict 1-1-1. I predicted 2-0. And game I predicted United to score 2, and they scored 3. So yeah, I think it's safe to say, man, that I definitely got that one wrong. But yeah, guys, big up yourself. Big up everyone for coming on. Obviously, we've hit 10 likes. Obviously, we're gonna try and increase that every stream as well. I think, guys, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do as well. I think I'm only about 20 short of 1K subscribers, So again, if you're watching for the first time, make sure you subscribe to my channel and help me reach that milestone, guys. Obviously got bigger and better things to come as well. I should be back tomorrow. Not sure what time yet, but I will schedule it. And guys, again, if there's any wrestling fans in there, or if there's any boxing or UFC fans, make sure you give me your questions in the live chat as well, or give it after the stream has ended, because obviously these are topics that I like getting into as well. Obviously got Backlash coming up, certain Randy Orton against John Cena for the title, so we'll be doing a reaction to the matches coming up there, and obviously my predictions on who I think is going to win those matches. So yeah, make sure you give me your questions if you are a boxing, wrestling, or a UFC fan, for sure. Big up to Ayun Tex. Yeah, big up for coming on. But guys, as I said, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you smash that like button. And big up everyone for coming on. And I'm going to catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.